going to be a huge loss for her clients when she leaves, and it will be a huge loss for me personally, and so I wanted to thank her for that. Eve is a very well-known and popular figure on our floor and in our office for her encyclopedic knowledge of the law in the areas where she works, which are, as I said before, hazardous waste, and in addition, Prop 65 and solid waste, and under the new structure, a lot of other things too. Eve has never been one who really wanted to do things outside of her area of expertise, but when asked to do them, she always did a great job. She would find a way to come up with an answer. She'll go into a meeting thinking that she can't contribute, doesn't know anything. Someone will ask the question, and she's immediately the person who answers the question and knows the answers to almost all the questions we run into. So, a fantastic attorney, a fantastic person, a good friend. My next door neighbor, who had to put up with my loudness just as I put up with hers. We were both kind of sounding boards for one another, unnecessarily so at times, but that's life. I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed these years, and thank her personally very much. I'd like to introduce the next person to speak now, Diane Boyer-Vine, who is the Legislative Counsel.
So welcome everybody, and thank you for coming to celebrate Eve's 33 years of service. Eve's entire career has been at the Office of Legislative Counsel serving the California Legislature. And as Tom just said, primarily she's worked in the area of environmental law, and her expertise in that area has been so valuable to our clients. She has brought all of that expertise in a number of areas: recycling, hazardous waste disposal, and the protection of California residents from toxic substances. She started out at Berkeley Law School, and she graduated from Berkeley, and before that had earned her Bachelor of Arts degree in Political Science and Government from UCLA. She came to the Office of Legislative Counsel in September of 1981, and I'm going to talk a little bit about her progression. In December of 1985, for those of you who aren't Leg Counsel types, this may mean nothing, but she was promoted to a Deputy Legislative Counsel 2. We have these progressive ranks in the office. In December of 1987, she became a Deputy Legislative Counsel 3, and then in 1998, she was promoted to a Deputy Legislative Counsel 4, which is our highest level before a supervisor in the office. And Eve was historic in that because she was the first person who had worked part-time to become a DLC 4. She worked in the area of environmental law in a time when California was really drafting noteworthy legislation of landmark and model acts for the country. I think they still do that, but over her entire career she has. So I'm going to read to you all of the measures that Eve actually had her her hand in crafting. The Toxic Injection Well Control Act of 1985, the Hazardous Waste Treatment Reform Act of 1995, the Toxics in Packaging Prevention Act, the California Beverage Container Recycling and Litter Reduction Act, the California Integrated Waste Management Act of 1989, the Electronic Waste Recycling Act of 2003, the Used Mattress Recycling and Recovery Act, and provisions regulating underground hazardous storage tanks. She also helped craft the implementing legislation after Prop 65 was passed, and was part of the governor's reorganization team in 1991, where the Department of Toxic Substances Control was created. For a legislative lawyer, it's important to have depth of knowledge, but also breadth of knowledge and flexibility when working with our 120 clients. And consistent with this, Eve's taken on new subject matter areas when we've asked her to do that in the office. And when we reorganized in 2012, she really did have to move out of the environmental area and do things in education, transportation, utilities, environment, and food and agriculture. I never know what actually happens in the Food and Agriculture Code, but I'm sure someone does. So I talk about Eve being the first attorney to actually be appointed as the DLC 4 working part-time. And that's because Eve chose to work part-time so that she could balance work and family. And I think Eve has mentored a lot of deputies in the office during that time. She and I were contemporaries. We had our children, I think, around the same time, both of them. We experienced the challenges of working and parenting. Our kids progressed through school, not in the same school, but the same grades, through elementary school, high school, and college. And funny little anecdote, my son and Eve's son were in a high school quiz program that was actually on the Game Show channel, and they represented their high schools at the Crest Theater. I don't think either of them actually went on to win, but they did it 2 years in a row. It was really fun for them and fun for Eve and David and I to be in the audience and watch them push the buzzer and try to get the right answer. So those are a lot of fond memories. I think Eve's colleagues, her clients, and Eve herself can look back in admiration on her career. Again, as Tom said, we're going to miss her encyclopedic knowledge of environmental law, and we will miss her just keen intelligence. So please join me in wishing Eve a happy retirement. I'll introduce him. A man who really needs no introduction, at the back of the room to present a resolution, Kip Lipper.
I just want to say a few things. My name is Kip Lipper, and the recitation of laws that you heard about that Eve actually wrote, there's this myth, as all of you know, that legislators write laws or the staff write laws. It's actually the Legislative Council that writes the laws, and Eve had the sad and sorry short straw draw of having to work with me on many of the laws that we worked on together, including the Beverage Container Act, which I think we amended about 18 million times, and the Integrated Waste Management Act. But she, one of the things, Diane spoke eloquently about her background. I just want to say, as a person and as someone who I worked with closely on a lot of these laws, Eve was unfailingly patient and kind. Occasionally she would say things like, "What do you really want to do here?" and write it clearly, which was a good thing to do. But it's been an honor to work with her, and I think she deserves a lot of credit for the clarity and, frankly, if I can be honest, the lack of litigation over a lot of the laws that she drafted, because they were written very clearly and well. So I want to congratulate you, and yes. Okay, Daryl Steinberg.
Resolved. Daryl, right, Daryl.
All right.
Just read that.
Resolved by the President pro tempore of the California State Senate, Daryl Steinberg, that a hearty mazel tov and all best wishes for a long and happy and healthy retirement be conveyed to Eve Pennish Crotinger, along with sincerest thanks and appreciation for 33 years of dedicated and exemplary service to the people of the state of California and beyond. Congratulations.
I finally got one of these now, David. Okay, hold it up. Picture time. Okay. Okay. Wow, this is great. Okay. Okay. You know, when I first started here, everybody come in. Look, if your people are cold, I don't want people to get colds and flus and bugs. You know, come on, if you want to come closer, come closer. Okay. You know, when I first started working at the office of the Legislative Council, 33 long years ago, there was ashtrays on the desktops, computers in the back room, and Jerry Brown was the guy. Nowadays, there's computers on our desktops. Who knows what they're smoking in the back room. And Jerry Brown is still the governor. The one thing that's always remained the same during those 33 years has been my most amazing colleagues, both attorneys and support staff, who've been friendly, supportive, and just plain fun to be around. The willingness of my fellow employees to share their time and expertise in matters of both our work and our lives outside the office has been one of the unique and best aspects about Legislative Council. When I leave the office, I won't miss receiving those complicated last-minute sets of amendments, especially at 2 in the morning during the last night of session. I also won't miss the challenge of balancing my responsibility for the needs and activities of 2 growing children and my family with the requirements of my job. But I will miss the daily interactions and friendships that have been such a treasured part of my work life. I want to especially thank Diane Ware-Vine, Tom Curbs, and Kip Lipper for their contributions to the event. And I'd like to acknowledge some of my former supervisors, John Studebaker, Bob Duffy was here, Jimmy Wing, Rick Weisberg, Ned Cohen, I hope I didn't miss anyone else here. Yeah, I said Dan Weitzman. Yes, he's here too. Yeah, he's here too. And a personal note, I want to thank my sister Michelle. Michelle, here, wave your hands, Michelle, who flew in all the way from Los Angeles, as well as my sister-in-law Wendy, who also flew in all the way from Los Angeles. And my brother-in-law Robert Panish and his wife Carolyn. And I also want to give a big thanks to the IPA band for playing here today. They often offer their services for free or charitable events. And in honor of their services, David and I will be making a contribution to the Shakespeare in the Park program that is sponsored by Sacramento City every summer. And there's a basket there in the back on the table. And I would encourage everyone to support this great community institution and make a donation to it too. So right there in the basket you can find out about this. And in conclusion, I want to thank each of you for sharing this event with me. It's been my privilege to have spent my time in the office during the most amazing societal changes. When I first came to the office, among the attorneys, women supervisors were few and far between. And I'm so proud to have served during the tenure of the first female legislative council. But one thing that has not changed during my time here is the uncompromising commitment to public service of the attorneys and the support staff of the Office of the Legislative Council. The folks who work at Ledge Council may not get the public applause or acknowledgement, but it's been my privilege to serve alongside dedicated employees who put up with long hours and labor hard to handle some of the most complex, challenging, and cutting-edge legal issues in the state, while striving to meet the needs of our sometimes demanding clients without never a complaint.
What, never?
Well, hardly ever. Oh, thank you very much. And a Panish event would not be complete without a song and a dance. When I was a lass, I wanted to learn, so I became a student legislative intern. I liked reading bills, it was never a bore, and I watched the debates on the Senate floor.
She watched the debates on the Senate floor.
I watched the debates so carefully that now I am a Ledge Council retiree.
She watched the debates so carefully that now she's a Ledge Council retiree.
On my LSAT, I made such a score that I went to law school near the Berkeley shore. I thought drafting bills might be fun, so I joined Ledge Council in '81.
She joined Ledge Council in '81.
I joined Ledge Council last century, so now I am a Ledge Council retiree.
She joined Ledge Council last century, so now she's a Ledge Council retiree.
I drafted bills with such style and taste that they made me the expert in solid waste. I wrote new bills to stop landfills and burnt midnight oil amending bottle bills.
Burnt midnight oil amending bottle bills.
I always mark fiscal on the digest key. So now I am a Ledge Council retiree.
She always marks fiscal on the digest key, so now she is a Ledge Council retiree.
So deputies all, please listen to me. You must know the difference between a tax and a fee. Always use the right LAF and never embarrass Diane or Jeff.
And never embarrass Diane or Jeff.
If you work at the office for years 33, you too may be a Ledge Council retiree.
If you work at the office for years 33, you too may become a Ledge Council retiree.
So now that Eve has spent 33 years at Ledge Council, you think that she would have figured out what it's all about by now.
We tried to grab Diane's purse earlier. We didn't know that she was
Diane Blairvine, you can't escape just quite we need you to help us here. So, Eve, why don't you come out in front of everybody? I need some people to help Eve do the hokey pokey. So, if you're the Legislative Council or a supervisor at Legislative Council, please come on up. Rick Weisberg, if you're a retiree or if you're a former supervisor, P1.